Hey everyone.
How's it going? So
This is kind of exciting.
just a quick moment. We're recording this moments before the 100,000 live stream celebration or 100,000 subs on the channel. So if anything happened in the live stream that you thought was going to be mentioned in the next Vault episode,
It wouldn't be Monday or Tuesday, it'll be Wednesday before we start talking about that.
Yes, it will. So hopefully nothing too unsavory happens when we record that.
Yeah, and the patron saint Ben Stahl.
Patron saint of whiskey.
Patron saint. Oh, God.
Oh, we just ruined Ben
early.
Stahl. We just ruined
Sorry, Ben.
Ben Stahl, you patron saint of whiskey. Oh, you gotta lean into it, Daniel. Lean in.
I love your voice.
Being serenaded by a frog. Alright, so
I am alone.
this is kind of a fancy looking bottle.
This is cool. So Ben Stahl sent us the Woodford Reserve. Remember how we said one of the things we thought would be cooler is if some of the big guys who have all the opportunity and resources started to do experimentations similar to what the craft guys are doing?
Sure.
Woodford's doing it.
Nice.
They have an entire series now called the Masters Collection,
Okay.
where they are experimenting with variations on the classic Woodford.
You know what's really kind of heartbreaking? Even their experimentation bottles are like custom, unique, because we know the bottles that you can get that anybody can get that are cheap. This is not one of those bottles.
Well, they're all in these bottles. So
Oh,
they
this
bought
is all-
the bottle in bulk. It's just all it changes is the labeling. And
So this is a Woodford bottle?
this is a Woodford
Well,
bottle.
no. I have seen very different bottles out of Woodford.
No. I'm saying all of the Masters Collection series, they purchase these kinds of bottles.
So their
for.
experiments are coming under the umbrella of a Masters Collection series.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Now this one is the batch proof one, so we get to see what Woodford tastes like.
Yeah.
At cask strength.
So it's just the standard Woodford
Yes.
without it being
In theory, I'm about to look at my notes again.
without it being diluted or proofed down, I guess.
Yes.
is the term.
So mine, according to my notes and from their communication, basically it's the same thing that goes into the Woodford Reserve. It's just turned up
yeah.
on proof.
On proof. And the interesting thing that I'm coming to realize when it comes to higher proof whiskeys is, any whiskey can be cask strength.
Right.
But some whiskeys, that just makes it, hot. Other whiskeys, oh no. The flavors come up and the flavors are amplified too.
We found that out on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday episode, by the way.
Yeah.
It was
Opening of our barrels.
opening the barrels.
And sure enough, there was, for example, there was one that was at like 56 low.
Yep.
And it was just harsh and brittle and shiny, and nobody liked it.
Yeah.
And then there was one that was 57 plus.
Yep.
And it was approachable and buttery and
Yeah, and I kind of grabbed that one.
Yeah, Rex claimed that one.
We'll put the link up here. So
I kind of want to compare this to the classic
I'm saying,
Woodford, but I want to get a glass before we take a taste.
Okay, because on those I'm getting classic bourbon. I'm getting, the brown sugar. And it's not a fruit sugar. I think there may be a hint of cherry on the taste. It's not so much so on the nose, but we'll see.
Looks like we just emptied out the other Woodford I have, so this is the Woodford Distillers Select.
Okay, and did we decide that doesn't really mean anything?
Doesn't really mean anything, it just means they chose it.
Yeah, it just means that they decided to sell it.
Now this one is more like what we did on Saturday, which is they picked a handful of barrels they thought had something really interesting, and then they brought them together.
Okay, so on the nose.
Keep that out of the way.
I'm smelling. Actually, on the nose, I like the proof down one better.
Yeah, me too. It's a little more, it's a little more, what is it?
It's more balanced. And I think the lower alcohol gives those other notes room to breathe. There's
a little more of that candy apple.
Yeah, on the nose.
On the nose. This one, it is sharper. It even smells more oaky. That's kind of strange.
Okay, I'm going for the cask strength first.
Ooh, that burn just sort of unfolds.
Yeah.
Like, when you eat a pepper?
It swells up and then it just drifts away.
When you eat what do you get the peppers that we get at, like, the appetizer? That
Shishito?
Sometimes you get a shishito pepper that just kind of goes bing, and it doesn't happen at once like pepper.
Right.
Like spiced pepper. It happens where you take a bite and it's like, ooh, that's hot. Ooh, that got a little hotter. it got a little hotter, and it's like, oh, and then it kind of flies back down. That's what this did. The bite from the alcohol content sort of unfolded like a flower, and then just when it opened up, it collapsed in on itself again.
It's always fun to have lunch with people. We get the blistered shishito peppers, and it's like 1 out of 10 will take your head off. And then like just, dude bros, they'll get the 1 out of 10.
It's like shishito roulette.
They're just tapping out. It's like, I can't do it. What was the proof on this? Is on the original, this is 45.2%.
Yeah, and this one's 62, basically 60-30. See, this is all vanillaed and honey and light char, but not overly. See, I've always loved Woodford Reserve. I've always thought it was a really good bourbon.
Not me. I always thought it was fine. But in terms of like really good and one of the ones that I'm thinking about whenever I'm in a bourbon mood, I'm not reaching for it.
No, the Woodford is my go-to when I'm at a bar that has a meager selection of bourbons, and it's, Knob Creek, Woodford, and so on. I almost always default to Woodford.
Yeah, I think they do a decent bourbon. There's nothing wrong with it, but I definitely have many others that are like more.
Now this is way more woody to me, the cask strength. It tastes way more woody than the non.
And then the brown sugar sweetness, I think. The oak note and then the brown sugar sweetness, those are amplified in the higher cask strength version. Those specific notes don't show up quite as prominently in the lower proof, but it's more balanced in the lower proof.
I figured out what this reminds me of. Remember when Antonio was stripping all those cedar logs with a power washer?
Oh, yeah. For the ceiling in our distillery.
The smell that was down there. With the stripped cedar, but it was damp.
Yeah.
That's what this is reminding me of.
Yeah, tell us more.
Damp, stripped cedar.
You like that stripped wood?
Stripped wood.
Alex Hatfield.
These are both kind of cool.
Well, hello, Daniel. Only about 6 months. I was the boyfriend mentioned in the 10th Mountain Rye review. Since then, I listened to your words and consulted the once wise whiskey spirit animals and asked myself, am I the boyfriend I should be? Alas, I was
Remember
not.
we gave him shit about being a bad boyfriend. How do I get my girlfriend to get me whiskey bottles?
Right. Alas, I was not. I mentioned whiskey in every third sentence and my words were heard. I spoke with the whiskey spirit animals again, and yet I was still not the boyfriend I should be, so I took more time to improve and earn the appreciation of Milady. I had consulted the spirits again, and finally I had become the boyfriend I should be. Long story short, got engaged over the weekend, and it was awesome. Any chance I could get a toast with a Glenfiddich of your choosing? Oh, there's a chance.
The Glenfiddich 14 Bourbon Barrel Reserve.
Bourbon Barrel Reserve. Somebody was asking me about a good starter scotch. I said Monkey Shoulder isn't their scene, and
Glenfiddich 14, that'd be perfect. So Alex, congratulations to you, my friend, upon finally having achieved at least a modicum of respect enough to be accepted in marriage.
You convinced her. Well done, you. MPV3, how do I stop being a whiskey snob?
I like this question.
I work at a liquor store and I love talking about whiskey with customers, but at the end of the day, I feel like I end up being a snob to the less experienced customers. I always adhere to the idea of the best whiskey to enjoy is the best way to enjoy whiskey is however you want to enjoy it. But sometimes I feel like customers sneer at me for recommending lesser known products, even when I compare them to things they already know. I honestly try to be genuine, but maybe it's the fact that I'm a 24-year-old guy working at an upscale store. The customers who do hear me out and take my suggestions reasonably always come back and tell me their thoughts, but more often than not, I get one-time customers that despise me for recommending Abalor when they mentioned they liked sweeter Speysides.
Yeah.
Or recommending Basil Hayden.
Basil Hayden make me laugh.
Basil Hayden is what I'm saying. When they say they like lighter and smoother bourbons, I guess I would like to know how to control my own snobbiness and how to recognize others' snobbiness. I
really like this question because he's calling it snobbiness. I don't really think it's snobbiness, really.
Our definition of snobbiness is whether or not you're shitting on somebody. Not that you have a strong preference for yourself, but you're shitting on somebody because they have a different preference than yours.
Now, this is a human question because often I'll go into a store and I know a few things about whiskey, and I've been standing in a store and said something and had the person trying to help me say something totally wrong about whiskey, and they obviously don't know what they're doing. And then I say something like, well, it's sort of more like this, you know, and then they correct me or they argue, right? And my question to myself has always been, how far do I want to take this?
Right.
Like, there's a point at which you're putting someone in their place for their obvious. But I only have reached towards that when they were being a jackass about their false knowledge. What do you do in that situation? Now, the right thing to do is probably, with no ego, just walk away and realize there's no point in this interaction. What was it? If you it's like playing chess with a pigeon.
Yeah.
Remember? Don't play chess with a pigeon.
Even if you win, he's
gonna
shit on the board and strut away.
Yeah, and strut away like he won. Even if you're winning, he's just gonna knock up the pieces, shit on the board, and strut away acting like he won. Never argue with an idiot. There's no upside to it. And when someone's being rude to you, without considering that you might actually know more, there's not ever gonna be an upside to correcting that person's knowledge. Honestly, my opinion is that the best thing to do is simply nod and say, absolutely, totally right. Someday, one of two things is going to happen. They're never going to realize they were stupid, but they're always going to be stupid. And so there's nothing. Or someday they're going to find somebody who actually corrects them. They learn how wrong they were. And then maybe they remember that moment where you're like, yes, I totally get that. Where you just pat them on the head as something adorable. But I think... when it comes to customer service, you can only help people who want to be helped. And as soon as you mark somebody as like, this guy does not want to be helped, this guy wants to be seen as intelligent or smart or more important, then you just walk away from that.
Yeah, my willingness to pull the ripcord on any given conversation
is pretty high.
It's pretty quick. Yeah, we're about 7 seconds into this, and I don't see this going well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna figure out a way out of this.
Yeah. And honestly, one of my favorite things to do when I was working in situations like that was I would call a coworker, and I would say, "Hey, hang on a second. Hey, John, could you talk to this customer? Because I'm gonna let you talk to John. John knows a lot more about this than I do. So
you hate
John. Why don't you?" And then I walk away, and John's stuck there going like, "You bastard."
That's funny.
I think that's good shit. So, cask strength or not cask strength?
Yeah. So, Woodford, it's nice bourbon, not my favorite bourbon. I think.
Ooh, try this.
What is this?
That's half cask and half not.
Okay, I was about to ask. We need to see if there's a middle ground here.
Yeah, I think I just found it, and it's really good.
Yeah.
That's significantly superior.
Yeah. The tameness of, I mean, you're getting more
comparatively.
Comparatively, the tameness of the non-cask strength feels like it's missing a little something. Maybe if we hadn't have had this first, I wouldn't have had that perception. But the go-between there, the mix between the two, it's really super nice. All right, you feel it, don't you? You know we're coming in for the landing there.
We're pulling it in. You ready?
You're just kind of the moment. It's just kind of. It's just right there.
Here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight, may you fight for a friend.
If you steal, may you steal a lover's heart.
And if you drink,
may you drink with us.
Patron of whiskey.
I know. I don't know where that came from. I got to tell you a story you'll love about that.
Was it about the patron?
No, it's about no.
Wait, tell me the story about.
We're still recording.
Yeah,
no, I could do it.
Wait, David, you don't get a story. We have our first official patron of whiskey. Go ahead.
I was on tour with my friends. We were in a van, and one of the guys brought their kid on the tour just because I don't know why. It was stupid.
Right.
And we had video games set up in the back.
Horrible idea.
We have video games set up in the back, and I was just kicking this kid's ass on a video game. And so I was going to do a little trash talking, and I was in the default mode where you're like, you cuss, and then you're like, oh, I shouldn't cuss, there's kids kind of mode, right? And so I said, I'm just going to kick you right in the ass, right? But I didn't say ass. At the last second, I realized I was about to say ass and shouldn't. And my default knee-jerk was...
To a child?
Yeah.
You said you were going to kick a child in the...
Yeah.
Right to his face.
And he was like 7. He had no idea what that word was.
But his dad
who's driving. So here's what happens. I go, I'm gonna kick you right in the. Phil's sitting there. He turns around and he goes. and Jake turns around. He's like, what? And then the guy who's driving, his kid I had said it to.
So much worse than ass.
In the front car, in the driver's seat, he goes,
You now have a new title. It's the patron of whiskey.
Sorry, Ben.
He's never sending us another bottle.
No, he's really not. All right, cheers.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us in the Whiskey Vault. Don't forget to throw in a like, hit that subscribe button on the bottom right, and drop a question or comment down below.